Hey everybody, welcome back to another short little video. Primary school is such an important time in the development of children. It is fundamentally when they begin to get a grasp of the fundamentals of education, of language, of being able to write, and to have an understanding of the world, which can then be developed. It's an innocent time, and it should be kept, in my view, as an innocent time. However, we have to face it that education is very much on the front lines of the woke war. And so let's have a look at this story, which I saw today. And as you can see, it's gender stereotypes. Primary schools urged to tackle the issue, says the screaming BBC headline. So let's just take this apart a little, shall we? And here's the image that they choose to use to accompany the story. So it's naturally it's a strong, empowered little girl scientist, obviously. Interesting ethnicity as well, by the way, given that this is an English story set in English schools. But anyway, that's the story the BBC choose. And here, let's get to the meat in this. Calling girls sweetie or boys mate in primary school perpetuates gender stereotypes, campaigners say. And in a letter they've written to the Education Secretary, they're calling on the government to address the language and ideas used in school. Now, let's just stop it here before we go any further. When you consider that considerable numbers of young children leave primary school unable to essentially read or write, I would have thought that getting those fundamentals in place were the priority. But no. It's about making sure we don't use the wrong kind of gender stereotyping. Because you see, stereotypes limit children's aspirations and create inequalities that help fuel gender-based violence. Gosh, that's a stretch, isn't it? How about a lack of being able to read and write limits children's aspirations and creates inequalities? No, we stick with we stick with the gender thing. So it says, so the letter is signed by various, these are all advocacy groups, by the way. You see here, you see these ones here? Girl Guiding UK, the Fawcett Society, National Education Union. These are all advocacy groups. These are left-wing advocacy groups. And it wants to make sure that the curriculum, books, and language used in schools should, it says the curriculum reinforces ideas of how girls and boys should look and behave. Well, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Evidence shows us the gender stereotyping is everywhere, says Felicia Willow. Great name, by the way. Felicia Willow, Chief Executive of the Fawcett Society, which campaigns for gender equality. Sorry, what is gender equality? We have gender equality in the UK. You cannot discriminate against anybody based on their gender, or indeed, for that matter, if you want their sexual preferences. We already have that in the UK. What are you people? What are you lunatics going on about? Yeah. So as I say, the things that worry another one of these people is examples including addressing boys as mate or girls as sweetie, or using phrases such as "We need a strong man to open that door." Make sure you ask mummy to sign the form. This is also hurtful. So what are we going to get? Well, we're going to get gender detectives. Yeah, gender detectives. This is the big idea. This teacher who works at a primary school has said the whole school has started questioning things, looking and thinking like gender detectives. Talk about watching the detectives, watching the gender detectives. And they're looking out for example, words such as the masculine and feminine articles, such as le and la in French, based on gender stereotypes. Also, staff examined the curriculum and decided to add more female scientists and composers, whilst a lesson about dance looked at male dancers. Yeah, we got to get all those female scientists and all those female composers in there. Yeah, all those dead white guys, all those guys, Einstein, Shakespeare. Yeah, like get them off the curriculum. Let's find strong, empowered, black and ethnic minority scientists, composers. Let's make sure that's front and foremost in the curriculum. This is the sort of lunacy that they waffle on about. Spokesman for the department says schools should be places where all pupils feel safe and are protected from harm. Yeah, well, maybe one way you do that is you just let teachers get on with the business of providing them with the essential elements of education, being the ability to count, the ability to write, the ability to express themselves properly in normal language. So you can see, folks, where this one's going to go. These woke advocacy groups have absolutely got a grip over education. I mean, state education, as far as I can see, is pretty much is in itself pretty much a danger to kids being able to go about those early formative years and get a proper, sensible balance to what they are there to do, which is to learn. They're not there, by the way, in school to check which French pronouns or verbs might offend some particular sensitive wallflower. I mean, I'm all for respecting people's views on things, and these advocacy groups. I think they do have a right to say what they want, and I think we have a right to make sure that it's absolutely ignored. Primary school kids are not lab rats to be tested upon by these behavioral propagandists and advocates, because that's what these people really are. I want to keep our kids safe. I want to make sure little boys and little girls have a safe and healthy, but most of all, an education which provides them with the necessary requisite tools to go into the bigger secondary school world, and from there off into life more generally. Fighting gender stereotypes is absolute garbage. Well, that's what I think. Maybe you think differently. Maybe you think it's important that we have gender detectives in the classroom. If you do, or if you don't, either way, the only way I will know is if you drop me a comment below. So like this video, and please make sure you keep subscribed to my channels, and speak with you folks real soon.